Welcome to Learn English Speaking. Let's Talk Stories. Here we bring you amazing stories to improve your English fluency. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting lessons. Let's learn together.
My Aunt Brenda owns a small hotel called the Seaview Guest House in Hastings. It's got 5 bedrooms and it's a very good guest house. People come from everywhere to stay there. Hastings is a good place to stay if you want to see the beautiful southeast coast of England. It's an old town. Aunt Brenda's house is over 100 years old, and she has managed it as a guest house for the last 10 years. Aunt Brenda is a good-looking woman. Everybody says so. She's almost 40 years of age, with red hair and a mind of her own. Her husband is my Uncle Ralph, and he loves her very much. Her guests always like her too. My Uncle Ralph is a local butcher, and he has a shop. The shop is well known in the town. He provides all the meat for the guest house. His sausages, Aunt Brenda always says, are the best in England. She always persuades her guests to have them for breakfast. Her full English breakfast, as she calls it, is famous in Hastings. Brenda's full English breakfast includes bacon, eggs, mushrooms, tomatoes, toast, and of course, Uncle Ralph's sausages. They are the most important part of it. Aunt Brenda takes great pleasure in the fact that all of her guests have tried Ralph's sausages and loved them. All, that is, except Mr. Dunn. Don't you worry, Brenda told me. I'll make sure he eats Ralph's sausages before he leaves here. Just you wait and see. Aunt Brenda's full English breakfast is mentioned in all the holiday web pages. It's the reason why most people stay at the guest house. If you don't eat it all, especially the sausages, she thinks you are just being rude, and there is no way she will accept that. She always likes to hear her guests say how much they enjoy the sausages. In fact, she expects them to say it. Now don't think for one moment that Ralph's sausages are anything less than delicious. He makes sausages out of different kinds of meat. They are made in all kinds of different ways and flavours, to please all kinds of tastes, except Mr. Dunn's. You see, Mr. Dunn was a vegetarian. A vegetarian doesn't eat meat at all. No chicken, no beef, no pork, and not even any fish. In fact, Mr. Dunn didn't even wear leather shoes. Even his sweaters, Brenda tells me, weren't made of wool. Now don't tell me that's normal, Brenda told me. We've had vegetarians at the guest house before. I always manage to persuade them to have a sausage, and once they've had one... Here Brenda raised her eyes to the ceiling. When she did this, she meant, you know what happens next. And of course I do. Nobody has ever tasted Ralph's sausages before and not wanted another. I could see that she wasn't going to let Mr. Dunn be the first to refuse, not if she could help it. I knew then that Mr. Dunn, one way or another, was going to eat a sausage. Me? I'm Claire, Aunt Brenda's niece. I live in Hastings too, with my mum. My aunt and I have always got on well, and I see a lot of her. We both love Hastings. Like many towns by the sea, it has lots of visitors. Some of them are rather strange. Some pass through, and some stay. Seaside towns like Hastings seem to interest all kinds of people. I think that's part of the reason we both like Hastings. But Mr. Dunn was stranger than anybody I'd ever seen before. To begin with, he looked as if he hadn't had a good meal for a long time. He was tall and thin, and his hair was as grey as iron. His nose was big and made him look like a wild, hungry eagle. His eyes were deep in his head, and his teeth were long and yellow. One thinks of vegetarians as being gentle people. He didn't look gentle at all. He looked like he could kill things with his teeth alone, if he wanted to. Then there were his hands. They were long, and he had thin fingers with thick, sharp fingernails. His fingers looked very strong. I don't know what he did for a living. I wouldn't like to work with him, I'm sure of that. Mr. Dunn was going to be staying at my aunt's house for 3 weeks. Aunt Brenda had to buy vegetarian stuff just for him, like soya milk. He never had cow's milk. She didn't like that. He always ate his cereal with soya milk for breakfast, without speaking to anyone. She didn't like that either. I have breakfast at Aunt Brenda's place every Saturday morning. She likes to look after her little niece, even though I am already 17 years old. This Saturday, she wanted me to talk to Mr. Dunn. "You see what you can find out about him, Claire," she told me. "I want to see him eating a nice sausage, not that soya rubbish. And please hurry up. He's already been here for over a week. I've only got 10 days left to do it." I don't see anything wrong with being a vegetarian. I really don't. But you don't argue with Aunt Brenda. So, at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, I was sitting across the table from Mr. Dunn. I was given my full English breakfast, complete with Ralph's beautiful sausages, and Mr. Dunn had his cereal and soya milk. "Good morning," I said cheerfully. "Lovely day, isn't it?" Mr. Dunn looked up from his bowl. His eyes were big and grey. He replied with a voice that sounded like a bear with a bad throat. The sun was shining. It was early September. It was a lovely day. "Have you tried these sausages?" I asked. "They really are delicious." "I don't eat meat," he said. "Not anymore." You used to eat it then?" I asked. Mr. Dunn gave me a bad-tempered look, and then he answered slowly, "I was told I had to give it up." For health reasons?" I asked. Mr. Dunn almost smiled at me as he raised a corner of his mouth. "Oh yes, my health, and others too." I heard him make a deep sound that may have been laughter. It was hard to tell with Mr. Dunn. "Surely just one sausage wouldn't hurt you," I said, holding up a piece on my fork as if to make my point clear. "They really are good." Mr. Dunn said nothing, but the look he gave me was enough to make me shut up. I finished my breakfast and left as soon as I could. "For health reasons," said Brenda over a cup of tea later that morning, "Ralph's sausages would be really good for anybody's health. He needs a bit of meat if you ask me. It would do him good." I could see by the look in her eyes that Brenda was thinking of something. When Brenda starts thinking of something, it usually means trouble for somebody. Usually me. "You say he used to eat meat." Brenda looked towards me. "He ate it once, he'll eat it again. I just have to think of a plan." Oh no, I thought to myself. Brenda had, of course, tried to interest Mr. Dunn in her sausages from the first day he arrived. Every morning she asked him again, until he told her not to. That was only on the 3rd day. So Brenda said nothing more and gave him his vegetarian breakfasts. She asked him about himself, just to make conversation. The truth is, Brenda is the kind of person who likes to know other people's business. She didn't get much out of Mr. Dunn, but she didn't give up. Eventually, on the Monday of the second week, she got some information out of him. "So that's what he told me, Claire," she said. "He's resting after an illness. He didn't say what it was, but he has to be careful with his diet. I told you he looked ill, didn't I? Anyway, anybody can see that all he needs is some good meat inside him. It would do him a lot of good. You can see in his eyes he wants meat. I've seen him looking at the other guests when they're eating their sausages. You can't tell me he's happy with cereal and soya milk." A few days later, I stopped at Aunt Brenda's guest house to see what was happening with Mr. Dunn. "He's agreed to try a sausage," my aunt told me excitedly. "Really?" I said. I was amazed. "Well, he said he might try a vegetarian sausage," she said. "So is Uncle Ralph going to make some?" I asked her. "Well, that's what I told Mr. Dunn," my aunt replied. "I said they would be ready on Saturday." And then she added, "Oh, and I also said that you would try them first and let him know what they are like." But of course, Brenda was lying about the sausages. Ralph had never made vegetarian sausages in his life, and he wasn't going to start now. "Is this a good idea?" I said to my aunt slowly. "They're not going to be vegetarian sausages at all. They'll be meat sausages, just like all the others. You're telling lies to Mr. Dunn, Aunt Brenda." "Ah, but he won't know," said Brenda, looking me in the eye. "Not if nobody tells him." "But why do you care so much?" I asked. "It's only a sausage." I already knew the answer. To Brenda, her full English breakfast was what she was known for. It just wasn't a full English breakfast without Ralph's sausages. And nobody had ever turned down the famous sausages. To turn down Brenda's sausages was to turn her down, and she didn't like that at all. I knew then that Mr. Dunn didn't have a chance. The next Saturday, I arrived early at my aunt's guest house. I knew what to do. I sat opposite Mr. Dunn during breakfast, so that he could see the beach through the window. Brenda's guest house was also famous for its views of the sea. She thought the sea air helped her guests to enjoy their food more. There was a street between the guest house and the beach, and the windows were very big so that people passing by could see everybody enjoying their food. It was good for business. Mr. Dunn looked even more bad-tempered than usual. He seemed to have a cold because he sneezed a lot. Anyway, soon my aunt came out with my breakfast. It had bacon, egg, mushrooms, tomatoes, toast, and Uncle Ralph's vegetarian sausages, all cooked perfectly. Of course, the sausages were meat sausages as usual, but I didn't tell him that. I started eating my breakfast hungrily. "They really are so delicious," I said, chewing one of my sausages with a smile. Mr. Dunn looked up. Was he showing some interest at last? "Amazing," I said. "So tasty." "And are they completely vegetarian?" he asked. "Brenda says they are all soya and herbs, but they taste just like the best sausages ever. No meat at all, she says. Nobody could ever tell the difference. Would you like to try one?" That's when he finally agreed to try one. Brenda brought in just one meat sausage on a plate. It was beautifully cooked, all golden brown, and it smelled wonderful to me. I'm not sure Mr. Dunn could smell it properly with his cold, but he certainly looked at it with hungry eyes. We watched as Mr. Dunn cut a small piece and put it on his fork. He put it to his nose and tried to smell it. He closed his eyes and put it into his mouth. He chewed it for a few seconds and smiled. Brenda smiled at me. It had worked! Mr. Dunn liked them. Suddenly, Mr. Dunn made a horrible sound, like an animal. He stood up and held his throat tightly. We watched as he seemed to grow in front of us. One moment he was Mr. Dunn. The next moment he was bigger, greyer, and hairier. His ears grew, and his face got longer. He cried out, just like a wolf, and jumped up from his chair. Then he jumped across the table and straight through the window. There was a huge crash as broken glass was sent flying all over the street. He landed outside and looked around like a frightened animal. He went down onto his hands, if they were still hands, and ran straight into the road and the busy morning traffic. We couldn't see him. We heard a crash, and I heard some people scream. A bus stopped suddenly. When we went outside, we expected to see Mr. Dunn lying in front of the bus. We saw the driver standing in the road. "Where did that thing come from?" he asked. "I mean, just look at the size of it." "He is a man staying at my aunt's guest house," I told the driver without looking. "He came out of there. His name is—" "Man? What are you talking about?" said the driver. "Just take a look at it." Aunt Brenda and I looked. There, lying dead on the ground, was the body of a huge grey dog. Its mouth was open, and it had long yellow teeth. Its feet, or rather paws, were huge, with thick, sharp claws. It was bigger than any dog I'd ever seen in my life. "That's a wolf!" somebody shouted. They were right. It was a wolf. But what was a wolf doing on a busy road in Hastings? We never saw Mr. Dunn again. Nobody knew anything about him. We never found out who he really was, or indeed what he really was. Aunt Brenda still manages her guest house and cooks her full English breakfast, but she doesn't mind if her guests want cereal instead of sausages now. In fact, I think she prefers it.
Chapter 8. The Girl in the Red Dress. That evening was the beginning of something wonderful, because Jim and I met often after that. Sometimes he went out with his friends or stayed at home to study. But we saw each other as often as we could. We met in cafes or in bars, or we just went for walks. Sometimes we used pen and paper to talk, but usually I read his lips. I showed him some more sign language too. But often we didn't have to talk at all. We just liked being together. When we weren't together, we sent each other text messages and emails. In this way we spoke to each other every day. Sometimes I felt I was living a dream, a very good dream. I was in love and I was very happy. Until the day I met the girl in the red dress again. The girl from the party. It was a Monday morning, and I was on my way to work. Mum had left early to meet a new parent, so I was walking. It was a sunny day, and I was feeling good. I went to the shops to buy food for the children's lunches, and then I walked through the park. I was probably thinking about Jim because I was always thinking about Jim. I didn't see the girl with the red dress until she stood in front of me. She wasn't wearing a red dress that day, of course, but I knew who she was. "Hello," I said, but she didn't say anything. She just stood there and looked at me. Then, when she started speaking, she talked really quickly. Too quickly. "Please," I said. "Can you speak more slowly? I can't understand you." She looked cross. "What?" I saw her say. "I can't understand you." My face went red, but I tried again, speaking carefully. "Please speak more slowly so I can read your lips. I'm deaf." When she spoke again, she spoke very slowly. Too slowly. I could understand every word. "Jim was my boyfriend before he met you," she said. "My boyfriend. We were very happy together." "Very happy." "I'm good for him in a way you can never be good for him." "How can you be good for him? You can't hear his music." "His music?" I didn't understand what she meant. She looked at me. "Don't you know about his music?" She said. "Jim plays in a band." "I can't believe you don't know that. The band means everything to him. Everything. And he needs to be with someone who can hear his music. Jim writes songs. Didn't you know that? You really don't know Jim very well, do you? He writes songs and he plays them to me before he tries them with the band. He could never do that with you, could he? So stay away from him, understand? You'll never make him happy the way I do." She waited for a moment to see if I would say anything, but I was too hurt inside to speak. Hurt and afraid. So she said it one more time, "Stay away from Jim." Then she left. There was a seat in the park under a tree. I sat down on it and watched her walk away. My head hurt. It was lull of her words. She was Jim's girlfriend until he met me. Was that true? Why didn't he tell me? And he played music in a band. Was that true as well? I thought I knew Jim, but now I didn't know what to believe or to think. I only knew that I was afraid. Very afraid. I knew why Jim never spoke to me about his music. Because I'm deaf. Just then I felt my phone ring. I took it from my bag and looked at it. There was a text message from Jim. "Meet me tonight. I love you, Jim." I didn't answer the message. Mom looked at me when I arrived at Busy Kids. "Are you all right, Sam?" she asked me. "You look ill." "I'm okay," I signed, and I took the shopping into the kitchen where we make the children's lunches. Mom followed me. "Sam?" she said. "What is it?" I didn't want to talk about it. But Mom's face was very worried, so I told her. "You must speak to Jim," she said. "Do you want me to phone him?" "No," I said. "No, thank you. I need to think. I was sad all day." No, I was worse than sad. My happy world was broken into pieces. At 4 o'clock Mom told me to go home early. "I've got a friend coming for dinner, but I'm busy here," she said. "Can you cook something?" I was happy to go home early, but I wasn't hungry. But I made a pizza for Mom and her friend. Mom got home at 6 o'clock and went to have a shower. When somebody comes to the front door at our house, the lights go on and off. Then I know that someone's there. The lights in the kitchen went on and off while I was making a salad and Mom was in the shower. I went to the front door to see who it was. I could see a man through the glass. It was Jim. I opened the door. He was smiling, but I couldn't smile back. I was pleased to see him, but I was sad too, because of the meeting with the girl. Hi, Sam," he said. "These are for you." Then I saw he had some flowers. Beautiful flowers. Red roses, lots of them. Flowers for a boyfriend to give to his girlfriend. But in my head I saw the girl from the party in her red dress. The roses were the same color as her dress. Did Jim give her roses when he was her boyfriend? Thank you, I took the flowers from him, and when I looked up again, Jim was saying something. Except of course I didn't know what it was. I don't think I have ever felt so sad about being deaf as at that moment. Jim took the flowers back from me and put them down on a table inside the house. Then he put his arms around me. I knew he was trying to show me what he wanted to say to me. It was the same thing as his text message, the same thing as the roses, I love you. I was happy that Jim loved me. But I was still sad because I knew love wasn't enough. Chapter 9. Pizza and Talking. When I was about 15 years old, my favorite books and films were all love stories. The stories were all the same. There was a man, the hero, and a woman, the heroine. They met. But there was always a problem which meant they could not be together at first. Perhaps the hero was hurt by love in the past and didn't want a girlfriend now. Or the heroine had an important job and didn't have time for a boyfriend. Anyway, these books or films always finish in the same way. The hero and the heroine know that they are in love, so the problems aren't important. The only important thing is their love. When we tell children stories we often finish, and they were happy ever after. It's the same with love stories. The hero and the heroine are always happy ever after. Happy together always, with no problems. But real life is different to stories, and I'm not a heroine. Anyway, I read hundreds of those books when I was 15, and there was never a story about a deaf girl with a boyfriend who played music. I moved away from Jim as Mum came down the stairs. Her hair was wet, but she was smiling at Jim. I soon saw that he was the friend coming to dinner. I don't want you to be sad, she signed to me while Jim put the roses in some water, so I phoned Jim and asked him to dinner. After we've eaten, you can tell him why you're sad. And until then, I can find out more about him. She was smiling like the children in the busy kids' nursery smile sometimes. When they've done something a little bad. I don't usually feel angry with the children, and I couldn't feel angry with Mum. While we ate the pizza, Jim and Mum talked. Mum laughed a lot. I knew she liked Jim. Of course she liked Jim. Sometimes Mum signed to me to tell me what she and Jim were talking about, his studies at university, his family, her days as a musician with the Sweet Pepper Band. Jim's father plays guitar, she told me. He was choir famous when he was a young man. Isn't that interesting? Mum was like a young girl. She was having fun talking to Jim. But I sat quietly, watching them. I didn't eat very much. I wasn't hungry. I think Mum was asking Jim more questions about his family. But I just felt sad that I didn't already know about his father being a famous musician. After 2 months of being Jim's girlfriend, I didn't know his father was a famous musician. I didn't know about Jim playing in a band. And I didn't know that the girl from the party was his girlfriend before me. What else didn't I know? I'm going out now, Mum said to me after dinner. I'll wash the plates when I come home. You stay here and talk to Jim. I saw her say goodbye, and then she left. I took Jim's plate. Do you want a coffee? I asked him. No, thank you, he said. He was looking at me, waiting, but I didn't know what to say or how to begin. I only knew that I wanted to sign to him what I was thinking and feeling. I wanted him to understand signing. Signing is my first language, and I wanted to talk to him about the girl from the party in my first language. Jim waited until I was looking at him. Your mum told me what happened, he said. She told me about Lauren. So, I thought, that's what she's called. Lauren. I didn't like her, and I didn't like her name. Sam, Jim said, Lauren wasn't my girlfriend when you and I met at the party. We did go out together for a few months, but that was last year. We're just friends now. Or we were friends. Oh, I'm so angry with her for hurting you. I didn't think Jim would lie to me. But he didn't tell me about his music. Jim knew what I was thinking. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about my music, he said. You didn't tell me because it's a problem, I said, but he didn't agree. No, he said, that's not true. Yes, it is, I said. I told him he loves music and I can't hear music. It's a big problem. I told him he doesn't want a deaf girlfriend, he wants a hearing girlfriend. But now Jim couldn't understand me. I wasn't speaking very well because I was angry and sad. So I wrote it down for him. You want a girlfriend who can hear your music. I'm not good for you. Jim's face was very sad. Don't say that, he said. It isn't true. I know what I want, and that's you. You are good for me, Sam. You're very good for me. When I didn't answer, Jim started to write again. I want to be with you, Sam. I want to be with you too. That's what I wanted to write. But I didn't because I couldn't forget Lauren's words. Maybe Jim did want me. Maybe Lauren just wanted to hurt me. But her words were true. I could never know Jim, the man who played music. So, could I ever really know Jim? Chapter 10. Jim's Band. Jim went home after that. I told him to go because I needed to think. Before he went, he wrote something down and gave it to me. I read it after he left. It said, I believe that sometimes it's more important to feel than to think. We love each other. Don't forget that. I didn't forget it. I thought about it all the time. But I also remembered Lauren's words. And Jim's music. It was the worst time of my life. Mum knew I was sad. Take a holiday from work, Sam, she told me. Visit Ron in London. I thought it was a good idea. I always had fun with Ron. So I went. But it's difficult to have fun with anyone when your world is in pieces. I was in London, not Norwich, but I still was thinking about Jim. I wasn't having fun at all. And I soon saw that Ron and his friend Mary were boyfriend and girlfriend now, not just friends. Ron felt bad about Jim and me. He tried not to be too happy about Mary when I was there. He didn't want me to feel worse. But every time he looked at her, he smiled. And I understood. Of course I understood. Until a week ago it was the same for me. I felt happy every time I looked at Jim. But not anymore. A few days later, when it was time for me to catch the train home, Ron took me to the station. We stood together on the station platform with hundreds of people hurrying to work around us. Ron signed to me, Sam, I don't think of you as my deaf friend, he said. I think of you as my kind, funny friend. I'm sure it's the same for Jim. I'm so lucky to have you as my friend, I told him. We kissed and said goodbye, and then I got on the train. I wanted to believe Ron, but Lauren's words were always in my head. Jim wants to be with someone who can hear his music. I knew it was true. When I got home, Mum looked at me. She saw in my face that nothing was different. Send Jim a text message, Sam, she said. Please. Speak to him. I hate to see you like this. I can't, I told her. She looked at me for a long time. Do you know what I think? She said. I don't think this is about Jim at all. I think it's about your father. I looked at her, but I didn't say anything. I wanted to know what she meant. I didn't want to tell you this, she said, but now I think it's best. Mum's face was sad, and I felt afraid. What is it? I asked. She closed her eyes for a moment. Your father left us because he met another woman, a woman who didn't have any children and who thought your father was wonderful. She didn't want to play guitar or have children. She only wanted to be with him. Sam, your father didn't leave because you were deaf. He left because he didn't want to be a father to any child. Mum was very sad now. She was crying and her face was wet. I wanted to put my arms around her, but she started sighing again. You think Jim will leave you after a few months because you're deaf. But I think you're wrong. Jim isn't the same as your father. He doesn't just think about himself. He's a good man, and he loves you. She smiled at me. Oh, Sam, I understand, I really do. When you love somebody you feel afraid. But it's better to feel afraid than to feel sad. Sometimes you have to fight for what you want. She put her arms around me and soon we were both crying. Then, after a few minutes, she smiled at me. She looked happy now, like Mum again. Get your coat, she told me. I know where Jim is. We can go to see him. I didn't ask any questions, I just did what she said. I wanted to see Jim. I wanted to see him very much. Mum drove through the city center. I didn't know where we were going or how she knew where Jim was. I was busy thinking about love stories, and about the problem keeping me from Jim. It wasn't that I was deaf, and it wasn't because my dad left when I was born. It was me. I was making problems because was afraid. I was fighting against something I really wanted, and it was stupid. I could never kill my love for Jim, it was too strong. After 10 minutes the car stopped and I saw we were near a church. But Mum didn't go into the church, she went up to the building next to it, St. Mark's Church Hall. Before she opened the door, I stopped her. How did you know where to find Jim? I asked her. Mum smiled. I came here while you were in London, she said and smiled again. Follow me. It's all right. Then she opened the door and went in. After a moment, I went in after her. And there was Jim with 4 other men. They were playing music, and I knew this was Jim's band. Jim was playing drums. There were 4 drums of different sizes. Jim was playing all of them. His hands were moving very quickly. Quicker than Mum's hands when she's speaking to me. I watched him play for a few moments. At first he didn't see me, but I was happy just to look at him. It was very good to see him again. And now I was really seeing him. Because this was the Jim who played music, this was the real Jim. Chapter 11. Happy Ever After. I knew the music was loud because I felt the vibration of the sound in the floor under my feet. Mum put her hands over her ears. When Jim saw me there was not as much vibration because he stopped playing his drums. He got up and walked over to me and his friends stopped playing too. I think everyone was looking at us, but I'm not sure. All I remember is Jim's smile and the love in his eyes before he kissed me. As I kissed him back, I forgot to be afraid. This was Jim, and I loved him. There was nothing to be afraid of. After a few moments he moved about a meter away and started to sign to me. He made some mistakes, but I understood. Just as he understood when I spoke to him. And I remembered his fast hands on the drums. There was no problem. This is what he signed to me: your mum taught me some sign language. Now I'll teach you to play drums. Come with me. Before I could answer, Jim took my hand in his. We moved to stand with his friends. Mum was smiling at me. Everyone was smiling. Jim stood behind me and his hands were on my hands, and then I was playing the drums. And the vibration traveled from the drums to my hands and up my arms to my head. It was wonderful. As wonderful as my small hand on the front of Mum's guitar. The end.